your thoughts better than him. You didn't have that swag, that flavor about you, that vibe about you. You couldn't resonate with an audience and gravitate them towards you the way that he could. And Deion knew it, and you hated him for it. And so since you couldn't touch him, now you're trying to touch his son. This is low. The fact that this is a story, the fact that people are putting this stuff out there, I'm not blaming Josina Anderson, you or anybody else. I'm saying the fact that somebody would say this stuff is low. It's low.
Forget everything you thought you knew because Stephen A. Smith and Cam Newton just tore the mask off the whole Shedeur Sanders situation. The so-called hate everyone's been shouting about? Yeah, turns out it's not what you think. These two didn't just speak, they detonated the truth like a live grenade on air. Once you hear what they revealed, you'll never look at Shedeur's critics the same way again. So here's the chaos. The Cleveland Browns, absolute masters of confusion, somehow made a simple quarterback lineup feel like a soap opera. They handed Dillon Gabriel the QB one spot, gave Joe Flacco a shiny clipboard as QB2, and dumped Shedeur Sanders at QB3 like he was some random intern who wandered onto the wrong field. And the moment that news broke, you could practically hear Stephen A.'s forehead veins explode from across the country. This wasn't strategy, this was sabotage dressed up as tradition.
That other people are gonna look at him and consider that immature. I don't consider him immature. I think that he can play. I think that he's a leader. I think that a lot is prejudged when it comes to him. I think it's unfair. I can't wait to see him get his chance on the football field.
He does not step up in the pocket.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Sack. But hear me out, though. 4 of those 5 guys protecting him, don't bumble, poof. Approaching a huddle, and you see these guys that's gonna block for you, you don't have confidence to step up.
The wildest part? The real story wasn't Dillon Gabriel finally getting his shot after 6 college seasons, 3 different schools, and more eligibility extensions than a student dodging graduation. No! The media didn't care about that redemption arc. They locked in on Shedeur. The man didn't even get the job, yet somehow he was the headline. That's how magnetic this whole drama has become.
For 40 seconds, Stephen A., while he may not be an immature person, that's an immature moment. It is. Does that 30 or 40 seconds help you in your own building? Like, is that moment, is there anybody in the Cleveland Browns that in that building that sit there and go, yep, that's a good moment for Shedeur. He shows growth or maturity, or he handled that well or whatnot. He handled the disappointment.
He needs to be a company man. Like, let's just be real. You gotta go be a company man. Like, totally. Shedeur Sanders doesn't get to be Shedeur Sanders.
Say the corny answer.
You gotta say the corny answer. You gotta stick to the company line.
Shedeur Sanders could just stand there on the sideline sipping Gatorade, and boom, he's trending harder than the guy who actually won the game. The tension is real, the politics are ugly, and everyone knows it's about way more than football. Stephen A. saw that lineup and basically said, wait a minute, why is Joe Flacco standing between Shedeur and QB2 like some fossilized roadblock from another era? Because let's be honest, Flacco's not here to throw footballs anymore. He's here to collect his retirement miles and tell ghost stories about the 2012 Super Bowl around a locker room campfire. He's not a threat, not the future, just another veteran name collecting a paycheck while pretending to mentor. Yet somehow, Shedeur Sanders, a 5th-round pick at number 144, which in NFL language translates to, we didn't know what else to do with this draft card, is sitting behind him, insane. And Cam Newton, oh, he wasn't about to sit back and nod politely like some guest on a talk show. Nah. Cam jumped right into that conversation like a big brother stepping in to stop a playground fight. He called out what everyone else was too scared to say. The NFL has a comfort problem because the second a backup quarterback shines too bright, people start getting nervous. Coaches get twitchy, owners get cold feet, and the PR team starts sweating through their suits.
It is this. As a 5th-round pick, you don't get to pick your personnel. I think what we've seen, they have more invested in Dillon Gabriel than they do in Shedeur. I think if Dillon Gabriel did something that was like, okay, nah. Because I'm seeing Joe Flacco start, then you have Dillon Gabriel, then you may have Shedeur on practice squad or something like that. That's not to say he can't evolve and become the best version of himself, but the truth is he's not given the circumstances that other quarterbacks have been given. And when you do get opportunities, you cannot take sacks as a whole. But bad sacks. One of those sacks accumulated upwards of around 30 yards. Like, you can't do that. Throw the ball away. Can Shedeur be better in those moments? Absolutely. But does the Browns need to be better in those?
Cam laid it all out. Shedeur walks into a room and the cameras just find him. He's got that natural presence that turns press conferences into premieres. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel walks in and people are asking if he's there to fix the Wi-Fi. That's the uncomfortable truth. The league would rather protect its quiet, safe veterans than risk a rookie who might steal the spotlight without even throwing a pass. Let's really break down this whole Browns mess because honestly, it's pure comedy gold. Dillon Gabriel sitting at quarterback 1? Yeah, sure. The kid's been around so long, he probably remembers the iPhone 4 launch. By December, he'll be 25, which in rookie years is practically fossil territory. 64 college games under his belt, that's more starts than some NFL quarterbacks see in their entire careers.
Sanders, this message is directed to you. Lead with work, not clout. I think he took on the persona of a DB, not a QB. As a DB, you're able to do certain things. You can speak loud and be rambunctious and have that bravado, but as a quarterback, reminder, you are the CEO of that franchise. What do I mean? You have what I've labeled the Super Six that you have to pay.
The man's reliable, I'll give him that. But let's not pretend this was some groundbreaking decision. The Browns acted like naming him starter was a historic moment, when really, it was just the safest, most predictable move they could have made. Then we've got Joe Flacco as QB2, the walking time capsule. This is the same guy who coughed up 8 fumbles last season, but still strolls around like he's the wise old sensei mentoring the next generation of Avengers. He's out here giving interviews talking about how the game feels faster now. Yeah, Joe, maybe because everyone else actually runs. But now let's talk about the real energy in the room. Shedeur Sanders. He doesn't just enter, he arrives. The air changes when he walks in. He's Deion's son, dripped out in confidence and charisma, and he's allergic to sitting quietly behind anyone. This is the same dude who told the Ravens straight up, nah, I'm not gonna sit behind Lamar Jackson because why wear a cape you'll never get to use? That's not arrogance, that's self-awareness. But the NFL doesn't like that type of confidence unless it comes with wrinkles and a retirement plan. When a rookie speaks his mind, they call it cocky. When a veteran does it, it's suddenly leadership. And this is Cleveland we're talking about, the franchise that collects broken quarterbacks like trading cards. They ruin starters for sport. Dillon Gabriel might ball out for 3 games, but the Browns curse? That thing's undefeated. Dillon Gabriel's future? Hanging by a single interception. 1 bad throw, 1 ugly pick, and boom, that bench is calling his name. And when that happens, guess who they're dialing up? Shedeur Sanders, the name echoing in every Cleveland conversation, even when he's not on the field. But here's the thing, Shedeur's not in a rush. He knows time is on his side. Flacco's already losing his battle with Father Time, and Gabriel, he might look decent for a few games, but once defenses study his tape...
Let's go a little deeper here. You guys are champions. You guys both played in the National Football League. Let's get personal. You know Deion Sanders enough. Has anybody ever been in a position to say that Deion Sanders was a liar? Ever. We've all talked about him for years. Have you run across anybody that said Deion Sanders said one thing to your face and said something else behind your back? That's not who that man is. And so when he comes out and he says something about his son, there is no question he has spoken to his son.
The Browns are going to panic faster than a fan trying to spell Stefanski after 3 losses. That's when Shedeur's patience turns into power, because unlike Gabriel, who's the coach's pick, Shedeur was chosen by the front office. Andrew Berry put his stamp on that draft card, and word on the street says even Jimmy Haslam had his fingerprints all over it. Translation: there are big names upstairs who want Shedeur to win, whether Coach Stefanski likes it or not. Now picture Stefanski's situation. You're the head coach trying to build your team, run your plays, and suddenly the front office hands you Shedeur Sanders like, surprise, deal with it. It's like being a chef told, oh, by the way, my nephew's taking over the kitchen tonight. Don't mess it up. Of course, Stefanski's gonna ride with Gabriel and Flacco. Those are his comfort picks, the guys he thinks he controls. But Shedeur, he's a ticking time bomb of raw talent and confidence. And the coach knows once that thing goes off, there's no putting the lid back on. And then there's the media frenzy. The second Shedeur sneezes, it's breaking news. ESPN, Twitter, every sports site lights up. Nobody wants their third-string quarterback getting more attention than their starter, but here we are. Seriously? Try to name another QB3 in the league? You can't. Nobody knows them. Yet Shedeur Sanders, he's already a headline before he's even taken a snap. Let's be real, nobody cares about most third-string quarterbacks. Half of them are clocking hours at Planet Fitness during the offseason, and the other half couldn't get recognized at their own family reunion. But everyone knows Shedeur Sanders. He's sitting at QB3 and still pulling more headlines than half the starters in the league.
Nothing wrong. So why are we having this conversation about his character? I'm going to tell you why. Because you got people hating on his daddy.
Yeah, that's what I was
And they want any excuse that they can come up with. And let me remind America why Deion Sanders, we gonna say this. This is why Deion Sanders is hated by some people. Because he was the greatest. And he told you so. And then went out there and showed you show. And you were helpless to do anything about it. And then when he talked about it, not only could you not play better than him, you couldn't talk better than him.
That kind of spotlight, it's both a curse and a crown. The fame follows him whether he's throwing passes or just walking through the tunnel. So is this sabotage? Maybe. The Browns aren't exactly known for subtlety when it comes to their politics, but at the same time, this could be the perfect setup, because when Shedeur finally gets his moment, and he will, it's gonna be louder, crazier, and way more entertaining than anything Dillon Gabriel or Joe Flacco could ever give this team. When it happens, the critics will realize they were never the main characters. They were just extras in the Shedeur Sanders origin story. Here's the truth. The NFL doesn't just run on touchdowns, it runs on narratives. Gabriel is the safe pick, the steady headline nobody remembers. Flacco is the nostalgia act, the rerun from 2012 that nobody asked for. But Shedeur, he's the drama, the show, the kind of reality TV chaos that keeps sports talk shows in business. Today it's Gabriel, tomorrow it's Flacco, but that spotlight, it's circling back, and it's gonna hit Shedeur dead center. And Stephen A. Smith and Cam Newton, they're not defending him out of pity, they're doing it because they know the game. They've seen how the NFL machine eats its own. They've watched how confidence turns into cockiness the second it comes from the wrong jersey. They've lived the politics and now they're calling it out loud.
This is perfect. It's perfect because there is now just enough almost credibility for folks that want to be like, no matter what the kid does, you guys kill him. You know what I mean? He comes out and says, what do you want him to say? Of course, he didn't say anything bad about his teammate. He just said, I'm better than, some of these other guys, and you killed him. Here is my guess on what happened. Somebody in Shedeur's circle was like, hey, you know what you should do next time they ask you anything?
Stephen A. and Cam Newton are setting the record straight because they see what everyone else is whispering behind the scenes. Shedeur Sanders is the Browns' future. The only mystery now is how many bad plays, fumbles, and coaching blunders we've got to sit through before Cleveland finally admits it. Because let's be honest, this team could stumble across a golden opportunity, shine it up like treasure, and then somehow still find a way to set it on fire. It's like the front office holds weekly meetings just to brainstorm new ways to make life harder for themselves. They've got a rookie with the name, the hype, and the raw talent to turn this franchise around. And instead of building him up, they're saying, nah, let's ride out Joe Flacco's retirement tour. That's not strategy, that's stand-up comedy. If Joe Flacco were a Marvel hero at this point, he'd be Clipboard Man, a washed-up superhero.
And he stated his position on what he thought about Shedeur Sanders declining that option. But see, now more evidence and more facts have come out that it wasn't just the Baltimore Ravens that was on the clock to pick Shedeur Sanders. I said this to you guys in a previous video. Why come we haven't heard about the teams that didn't want to select Shedeur Sanders? Now, all of a sudden, 4 or 5 months later, we're bringing up stuff that don't even make no sense, has nothing to do with nothing.
Whose only power is holding laminated play sheets while explaining to rookies how things used to be back when MySpace was still relevant, and somehow this is the guy blocking Shedeur's path? Come on! Flacco moves about as fast as a parking meter, and we're supposed to believe that's veteran leadership? Please! Shedeur deserves that QB2 slot at minimum. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel might look like Tom Brady one week and Nathan Peterman the next. That's the level of inconsistency we're dealing with. But in Cleveland, that's just another Tuesday, because the Browns don't develop quarterbacks. They recycle them. They treat QBs like soda cans. Use them, crush them, toss them, and move on to the next one. And just when you think the madness can't get any worse, here comes the kicker. Shedeur doesn't even need to touch the field to stay relevant. That's the wildest part. He's sitting at QB3, yet somehow he's the one driving every headline, every debate, every hot take on sports talk shows. The attention doesn't just follow him, it orbits around him like planets circling the sun.
We're talking about a quarterback. Shady said I'm a running back. The operative word there is running back. We're talking about a quarterback. A quarterback is supposed to, at least historically in the game of football, and even present day, lead a team. And based on leading a team, we do tell you how to act. Kyler Murray, when you're pouting on the sideline, stand up straight. When you're disrespecting Cliff Kingsbury, don't cuss him out in the middle of the game. We do tell quarterbacks how to act. When Caleb Williams was, after he's getting sacked, bro, toughen up. We do tell quarterbacks how to act. If Stephon Diggs wants to be a diva, that's fine. Receivers can be divas. If running backs want to be divas, that's fine. Running backs can be divas.
Even when Dillon Gabriel does something right, it still turns into a Shedeur conversation. Gabriel's starring in the movie, but Shedeur's the one on all the posters, stealing the red carpet before the film even drops. And that right there, that's what makes the NFL lose its mind. They hate when the backup, or in this case, the third stringer, becomes the star of the show. It messes with their script. But with Shedeur, it's impossible to avoid. He doesn't even have to try. His presence alone breaks the internet. The man could post a TikTok of himself flipping scrambled eggs, and it'd go viral faster than Gabriel's first touchdown. That's not hype, that's gravitational pull. Because while the Browns and the NFL try to play it off, hiding behind phrases like depth chart decisions and earning your stripes, everyone can see the truth hiding.
He has all the intangibles, and we love the poise. His arm is not that strong. He's not that mobile, but he's a winner. That's the kind of stuff that we've said about the Brock Purdy's of the world and others. Cam Ward, 67% of his passes completed, 4,313 yards. He has size. He has arm strength. Let's say you're talking about Cleveland. Let's say you're talking about Tennessee. Let's say you're talking about New York. I think you have to take those confines into consideration as opposed to somebody playing indoors or somebody playing in confines like Los Angeles.
In plain sight. This isn't about performance anymore. It's about control. Everyone sees it. The smoke, the politics, the quiet tension building behind closed doors. The Browns keep insisting it's about development and timing. But come on, nobody's buying that anymore. This isn't about Shedeur needing more practice. It's about the franchise being terrified of what happens when he finally gets his shot. Because once he steps on that field and starts slinging those passes, the narrative flips overnight. Suddenly, the golden boy Gabriel looks replaceable, and the old legend Flacco looks like yesterday's news. And that's exactly why they're stalling. They know the second Shedeur plays, it's over. The hype, the ratings, the fan base, it all shifts his way. ESPN will be running his highlights on loop. The internet will explode with clips, and every sports page will scream his name. The Browns might think they're keeping things calm, but really they're just delaying the inevitable. The rise of a player who doesn't need permission to shine. Stephen A. and Cam Newton said it best. Shedeur's not waiting for an opportunity, he is the opportunity. The Browns are sitting on a marketing gold mine that doubles as a franchise savior, and they're acting like it's a backup plan. It's almost poetic. The team that's famous for ruining quarterbacks now has one who could rewrite their legacy, and they're too scared to let him do it. Fans can feel it too. Every week that passes without Shedeur playing feels like the calm before a storm that everyone knows is coming.
We heard RG3 earlier today talk about Shedeur Sanders needs to be announced a starter. If they turn away from Joe Flacco, he should get the shot before Dillon Gabriel because he's going to bring in a spark. And a lot of people think that Shedeur Sanders has a lot of continuity with a lot of veterans on the team. And Shedeur Sanders is well liked in the locker room. This is not no slight on Dillon Gabriel, but if Dillon Gabriel is going to be around for a while and they consider Dillon Gabriel as their backup quarterback or potentially their franchise quarterback, why don't you throw Shedeur in there and give Shedeur a chance?
The stadium's going to shake the day they finally call his name. The noise, the energy, the cameras, all eyes will be on that kid, and when that moment hits, all this hesitation will look like a bad joke because Shedeur Sanders wasn't made to wait. He was built to take over. This is politics, plain and simple. It's not about talent. It's about optics, ego, and control. You've got a coach clinging to his comfort zone while the front office hides their golden ticket in the drawer. But here's the truth. You can't keep a star locked away forever. Eventually, the shiny new toy comes out of the box, and when it does, the whole league's gonna feel it. Because the Browns' safe choices, they always crumble under the pressure of their own mediocrity. That's their pattern. Play it safe, crash anyway, then scramble for answers. But this time, there is an answer waiting in the wings, Shedeur Sanders. And when his moment comes, he's not just gonna step into the spotlight, he's gonna own it. Every throw, every drive, every touchdown will hit like a statement. He's coming for that QB throne with swagger, precision, and fire, the kind that makes critics swallow their words mid-sentence. When that happens, all this chaos in all the benching, the drama, the he's not ready yet talk, it'll flip completely. What everyone called sabotage will suddenly look like the setup of the century. The Browns thought they were delaying the inevitable, but really they've been writing the perfect underdog story without even realizing it. So mark this moment, because when Shedeur Sanders finally gets unleashed, the whole NFL will feel the shift. This isn't just another quarterback waiting his turn. This is the start of something bigger. If you made it this far, make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video. And I'll see you on the next one.